Hello, I'm Chilton Webb, and in this video I'm going to show you basically how to use Unity to create a walkthrough of a Lightwave scene. It's really simple. We're going to first download Unity, just like this. Go to the Unity website, download the latest version, 5.3. It's going to install onto your computer. It'll take it a little longer than it does in this video because I cropped all of that stuff out. Basically, it's going to install somewhere on your computer, figure out where that is, and go launch it. The other thing we're going to use is the Instant Turntable system from Liberty3D.com. You can go to Liberty3D.com and download that. And the Instant Turntable system is going to let us basically take this room, Unity, and with a bit of effort, and I'm going to show you that in these videos, and create a walkthrough that you can basically wander around in freely. Now this right here was created in Lightwave. We rendered it using the UberCam and stuck it on roundme.com, which is round.me. It's a really cool website. It lets you post panoramas and move around them and such. This is what we want it to look like when we're finished, but we're going to do all of this basically in Unity in a way that it does this in real time instead of needing to be pre-rendered. So I'm going to refer back to these images from time to time throughout these videos to show you how it works. So we're going to open the Liberty3D.com Instant Turntable system, and we want to look for the walkthrough with free navigate. And that's what we're in right now. Now, right now, if I add a cube to this scene, and don't worry too much. If you don't understand how Unity works, just watch the video. It'll kind of make sense the more you watch it. It's really straightforward. But I've added this this box basically, and I hit play, and that's all it takes. I've already set everything else up for you. You can walk around freely in the room, in the environment. I just wanted to show you that all I had to do was add a 3D cube to the room, and now I can move around and see the cube there. And so we're going to use this basically as our template. I'm going to go into Lightwave now. And here in Lightwave, we're going to take our scene. Now this is what it looks like in Lightwave. I've got obviously I have it set to shaded solid mode, and I'm just going to show you basically this is what it looks like in Lightwave. Not super spectacular just yet. And then I'm going to go basically take that, and first I want to point out that that scene is comprised of all these different objects. Okay, so this is a massive scene with a whole lot of objects and a whole lot of textures. Now, personally, and that's what this whole video is about, I'm going to show you my personal workflow here. What I do when I'm doing something like this is I export the entire scene as one giant FBX initially. And then I go in and basically replace parts as needed. So we're going to do that. And I've set it all up here. We're not doing any animations or we don't need to import the cameras or lights or anything else. We're just going to import with these settings. And it's going to stick it back in the scene file, back in the scene folder in my content directory. So we're going to hit save here, and then this is actually going to take a while. Again, I'm cropping this out. And seconds later, we can hop over here into Unity, and we can see our FBX file here in the Finder. On Windows, it's in the Windows Explorer. And if you'll notice, it's a pretty big file. So I'm going to import this into Unity, and I'm going to stick it in the Models folder here in the Project tab. And that process right there takes a while. I cropped that out. So we've dragged that from the Projects tab into the hierarchy, and I hit play. That's all I had to do. I didn't do anything else. Just dragged it from projects into hierarchy and hit play. The Instant Turntable system that I created for you, it basically does everything else. So this is what we're looking at right now. We're already able to navigate around in it. It just looks like crap, right? Because none of the textures were brought in. All the models are flat shaded. This is obviously not what we're shooting for, but this is our first step. So from here, I can look around this room and I can see everything that's, see that everything is basically here. There are a few things that are anomalies that kind of stand out. We'll get to those. But what I want to do is basically pick something in the scene that I want to start messing with and mess with it. And I think we're going to go with these chairs first. These in the round me file, they're green chairs that are in the middle of the room. There are 4 of them. So we're going to see if we can figure out where those are. Now, some of the shortcuts that I use, I hit the letter F when I've selected something in the hierarchy. Hit the letter F, and if your mouse is over the scene, it will zoom in on that object. And so I picked a chair, clicked on it again, hit the letter F again, and zoomed in there. And from there I can see that the name is FRN26, furniture 26, right? And here's the object file. This is the Lightwave modeler file. Now I'm going to create a shortcut for the models folder there in the Finder so I can get to it easier. And then I'm going to basically export into that folder. So here in Modeler, what we want to do is take this and make sure it has a UV map. It all looks good. This model looks pretty good. Okay, so I think we're good. We're just going to import or export this as an FBX and stick this back in Unity. And I want to use the FBX 2014, and everything else here is fine. And we're going to go to the correct folder and hit save. Okay. Now over in Unity, it's importing it. It'll take it a second. There we go. Now I have FRN26 here in the project folder. That's the files, the actual files themselves. And I want to turn normals to calculate and apply that first, just to make sure that the normals are all updated for Unity. And now I'm going to drag that into the scene, and I'm going to drag it straight into the object I want to replace, and that will let me instantly parent it. And if you look over on the side, you'll see that it's zeroed out over there. As I move this around, you'll see that it's perfectly parented to that object. That's the one I want to replace. Now, one of the obvious glaring things here, there are no textures. So I'm going to take all of the images in my scene, and what I want to do is put them somewhere in here, probably in the textures folder. So I'm going to drag that straight into the textures folder. The naming convention, you can name these things anything you want. Unity will figure it out. I just personally use a textures folder in the project hierarchy, and I keep all of my images and everything in there. One thing that I want to point out is this does have a movie clip in it. If you're going to import a movie in Unity, you have to have QuickTime installed on your machine. So if you're doing this in Windows, you'll need QuickTime installed in order to play or in order to encode movies. Now it's going to import all of the images. And these images aren't going to be perfect as it's importing them. It's going to import them at kind of a lower res. It's going to compress them and a bunch of other stuff. We'll get to that later. I just want to get a little farther along the road here. So it imports all the images, and now we want to go find the right image for this chair. My hunch is it's named the same thing, but again, I didn't create this, so I'm going to go find out. I also want to check and make sure if it has a normal map. I want to make sure that the normal map is used also. So here it looks like we're using texture. That's good, and this is it. It's that is it. That's the exact name of it. Okay, Furniture 26, easy enough. FRN, type that in here to filter out everything else, and there we go. That's our texture. So I dragged it onto my object, and it created a material over there in the project. And as you can tell, it's already stuck it on the object. And that's all there is to that. Now, it's not perfect. Obviously, it's not. It doesn't look the same as it does in Lightwave. So if we switch over to Lightwave, what you'll see is that this is tiled in Lightwave. I'm going to undo that so it's zeroed out again, directly under the object I want to replace. And I'm just going to drag it up out of that object. And now I'm going to turn off that object. So now I've effectively replaced that object. I didn't delete the original, I just hid it. And that's so if there's something I want to come back and look at later, I can do that. And click on the new one, and I see that is set to tile 1:1. Well, that's not what it is in here. It looks different. Now we use the scale in this, which Unity doesn't exactly have, but we can kind of approximate it by just looking at the texture. If I select the material instead of the object, then I don't have to look at the wireframe while I'm changing the numbers. So I'm going to change it in the material. I'm going to set that to 4:4. Over here in Lightwave, select the object again and the texture. Okay, so across the top there, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these little decorations. Let's try 6 by 6 and see if that does it. So that gives us 1, 2, 3, well, not quite right. 7 by 7 seems a little too much. 5 is definitely not enough. Maybe 6.5. Yeah, I'm just eyeballing this. I'm sure there's some mathematical formula I could apply here to figure out exactly what we need to do, but in this particular case, I think this will be fine. Now it looks like there's a little bit of a seam there at the top that I didn't notice in Lightwave, but it's probably because I just didn't notice it in Lightwave. Let's take a look. Right there at the very top. Do you see that? If I change the tile, it's okay. So that's a UV seam. That's not actually a tiling pattern seam. So that's good. Now let's see if I, oh, okay, it's there too. All right, well, perfect. Well, good enough. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think that'll be just fine. It looks slightly different. We can come back to finishing touches later. Yeah. So on the left side, you have the scene, and on the right side, you have the game. The game view is basically from the camera in the game. Now I turned down smoothness. As you can see, that kind of got rid of those shiny bits. And it's going to be kind of important that we have our normal map in there. So let's go take a look at that. Surface editor. And okay, so this all looks fine. All right, let's look at the normal map here at the, or the bump map. And we have a bump map, and it is using this one, FRN26 fabric plane. Okay, good to know. Let's go do that here. FRN fabric, there we go. And that is the fabric texture we're looking for. So we're going to drag that straight into normal map on our secondary map. Now I could drag it into the normal map for the primary one. That would be fine too. I want to take a look at this. If I do it in a separate map, I get slightly different results sometimes. And I wanted to just kind of look over this and see how this looks. It kind of makes the bump map show up more. Probably move back to the primary map in a little bit. All right, so it's a little darker in Modeler, but you know, this actually looks kind of like fabric at this point. Look at that. Cool. All right, moving right along. It even has a neat little seam. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's freaking gorgeous. I think it's intentional. Yeah, so that's our chair. Now I want to duplicate that for the other chairs in the room. Pretty easy to do. All I had to do was hit Command D or Control D on a PC, and it made a duplicate. But since I was in the root of that hierarchy, it stuck it way at the bottom of the list. I don't want to make that mistake again. Now, what I'm going to do here is I dragged it into another object and I just zeroed it out. So it stuck it under that object. And now I'm duplicating it in that object and then dragging it to the next one. It's just a shortcut so I don't have to dig around for the file. I did that for each of these other files, or each of these other objects. And now I'm going to zero all of these out, rotation and orientation. Position and rotation, I mean. Just go through those and zero all those out. And now I've replaced all 1, 2, 3, 4 of those chairs, so I can drag the new ones up in the hierarchy and hide the ones that they were in as I do that. And now the originals have been hidden and the new ones are in there. And if I hit play and walk around, check that out. I'm going to do this every day for the rest of the week, and hopefully by the end of the week we'll have a fully finished and amazing looking site that looks just like this Round Me website version of the renderer, except that it will be in real time. So tune in tomorrow. Thank you very much.